fundamental duties, we have relationship between fundamental duties and DPSP, and also this right to property that's there. Okay, so when we talk about fundamental duties, originally when Constitution became applicable in 1950, at that point in time, we were not having any concept of fundamental duties. So fundamental duties were not there initially when Constitution became applicable. But later on, it was realized that it's not that people will be only claiming for their rights, but also citizens are having some duties. Okay, so this part was added in Constitution, and some fundamental duties were assigned to people. So when we talk about fundamental duties, it was added by way of amendment only, 42nd Amendment Act, it was inserted. So entire part is added by way of entire part itself is added by way of an amendment. Okay, so Article 51A, Part 4A. After directive principles, this part was added, Part 4A, with one Article 51A. And these are the sub clauses. So Article 51A, Clause A talks about the first fundamental duty. Like that, we have 10 duties. Okay, by way of 42nd Amendment Act. But later on, one more duty was added by 86th Amendment Act. Okay, so total we have 11 fundamental duties that are there. So in 1976, Congress party set up a committee called as Sardar Swaran Singh Committee. And this committee had the obligation that they had to recommend what fundamental duties can be added, the need and necessity which was felt during the period of internal emergency, when emergency was declared in 1975, which continued till 1977. At that point in time, it was realized that it's not like people only will be claiming for rights, but people are having some duties as well. So after that, this committee was formed so that they can recommend what all things can be added as a fundamental duty that citizens are expected to abide by. And this committee recommended that inclusion of separate chapter on fundamental duties in the Constitution. As a separate chapter, we need to add it. And also it said that citizens should become conscious that in addition to enjoyment of the rights that are guaranteed to us, we also have some duties that we need to perform. So the Congress government at center accepted these recommendations and enacted 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So they suggested, this Swaran Singh committee recommended only 8 fundamental duties that they thought is better to be included, but the 42nd Amendment that included 10 of fundamental duties. So these are certain things which were not added. So out of the recommended ones, they accepted some, they added 2 from their own self, and total 10 duties were added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. And you can remember name of this committee, Sardar Swaran Singh Committee, which gave the recommendations regarding addition of a separate part in Constitution that will talk about fundamental duties. Now, when we talk about fundamental rights, is it applicable to citizens or is it applicable to all? What do you think? Fundamental rights, part 3.
Applicable to everyone, irrespective of citizenship.
All the rights?
That I'm not sure.
So some of these are applicable only to citizens also. Okay, like Article 19, it's not applicable to all, but it's applicable to some of like the citizens only. Like that, starting itself, you will see the state shall not deny to anyone. Anyone means everyone will be included. If it's a citizen, means citizens are included. So we have some which are available to citizens only. We have some rights which are available to both citizens and non-citizens. But when we talk about fundamental duties, it's applicable only to citizens of India. So only citizens of India are expected to perform these duties. Again, fundamental duties are non-justiciable. Even if we are not following these duties, case cannot be filed against us. saying that it's a violation of Article 51A, Clause A or something. But yes, case can be filed if there is a legislation in line with this fundamental duty. If under a legislation also we have similar duties, their case can be filed. Okay, so these are the duties we have. First of all, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institution and the national flag and national anthem. So it's a duty imposed on the citizens that we respect our national flag, we respect the national anthem, we respect the Constitution, we follow the Constitution and whatever ideals are mentioned in the Constitution. So there was a case, national anthem case that I mentioned in fundamental duties, fundamental rights. Do you remember that national anthem case?
Yes. In a school, certain religion were not singing the national anthem.
Yes.
Because of that, school suspended those students.
Right. So in that case, it cannot be that the case would be filed that it's a violation of Article 51A, Clause A. It cannot be like that. But disrespect to national anthem, we have a legislation under that case was filed. There also court said that no, they are not disrespecting or anything because other people are singing, they are not disturbing them or something. They are simply silently standing there. So it's not disrespect. So we cannot file a case as a violation of Article 51A, Clause A. But yes, we can file a case as violation of that specific legislation which is there. Okay, then it's a duty on us to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold and protect sovereignty, integrity, unity of India. It's mentioned as a fundamental duty and also the fundamental rights that are guaranteed to us, right? Do you think those rights are absolute or some restrictions can be there? Fundamental rights part 3.
Maybe rights are absolute.
Absolute means like you can enjoy it any situation, whatever comes, you will be able to enjoy it. Is it absolute or there can be restrictions?
Yeah, in exceptional cases, restriction can be levied.
Correct. Exceptional cases, restrictions may be there, and these are some exceptional situations. In order to protect sovereignty, unity, integrity, fundamental rights are sometimes restricted. It's not absolute. So it's a duty on us also to protect sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, and also fundamental rights can be restricted on these grounds sometimes. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, sectional diversities, whatever differences we have, we all are like citizens of India. We should have this spirit of common brotherhood, and we need to renounce practices which are derogatory to dignity of women. So these are again fundamental duties we have. We have a duty to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. It's a duty on us, and also the state is having a responsibility to ensure that they are providing for the whatever support is needed in preserving culture. We saw one right also, cultural and educational rights of minorities. If some communities are not able to do that, government is also having a responsibility to support. Same way, people are also having a responsibility to preserve it as well. To protect and improve natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for human living creature. This is another very important fundamental duty in terms of environmental law. A lot of legislations you will see this. Right? We also have a duty as citizens of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife. So if I'm doing something against this provision, a case cannot be filed under Article 51A, Clause G, but definitely a case can be filed under that specific environmental legislation. Okay, a lot of legislations you will see. Same ways, under the directive principles that we have, under that again state is having a responsibility, right? State is having a responsibility to protect the wildlife, etc. So that's a responsibility on the state to improve the environment and safeguarding forest and wildlife. State is also given a responsibility. Citizens also are having a fundamental duty. Plus, there are legal obligations on us as well based on different environmental laws to develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. So I cannot say that, okay, this is something which I heard and I simply believed it and I also worked on it. That should not happen. We need to develop scientific temper and we need to have a spirit of inquiry and reform. Not like whatever is been followed, we will simply follow it. If there is something wrong in a certain custom or tradition, we should have a spirit of inquiry. We should try to figure out why that certain thing was followed first of all, and if needed we need to try to bring reforms as well. Okay, have you heard of this witch hunting?
No.
No. Okay. So there is a something like a crime you can say called as witch hunting. Okay, what happens is mostly it is prevalent in like village areas or remote areas. Okay, there are some states wherein it's very common, like I think Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Assam, like that. There are certain places wherein it's very common. Okay, witch hunting, and legislations are also being introduced, but still we are not able to fight this problem completely. This problem is still there. Okay, every other day in the newspaper there will be news that so and so person was killed suspecting that person to be a witch. So what is witch hunting basically? Take for example, there is a village. Okay, there is a village, might be in that village there is one person A and there is one person B. Now A does not like B. Okay, there is some issues with them, might be. What A will do, right? A will tell this entire village that, you know what, B is a witch. Okay, and we need to kill B to save our village or something like that. And this entire population from the village or some people, the person would gather and all of them will come and kill B. This is nothing but witch hunting, very prevalent, very sort of a crime that is there. So in such cases other people cannot say that, okay, we did not know, it's something which is actually B is a witch, so only we killed it. Court is not going to accept that justification that B is a witch, so we killed him or her, right? So this is nothing but we need inquiry and reform. Same ways all this sati system which used to prevail, with the help of reform only we have got rid of it. Child marriage, with the help of reform we got rid of it. Dowry, something we are still dealing with, we are still fighting it back, right? So these are nothing but we need reform, and that is also a responsibility or a fundamental duty on citizens to safeguard public property and to adjure violence. So whatever public property is there, we need to safeguard it. We cannot damage or destruct any sort of public properties that are there. It's also a duty on us to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to level of higher levels of endeavor and achievement. So as individuals and collectively also we need to try to do better things. Okay, when we talk about it, you must have heard of IPR, intellectual property rights. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
So what is intellectual property rights?
It's a regulation or act which protects intellectual property like trademark
Hmm.
or something like that,
Copyright,
whatever it is. Yes,
patent.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
IPR, when we talk about IPR or intellectual property rights, right? Intellectual property rights is like a area or like a subject. Okay, we don't have a legislation called intellectual property rights, but we have multiple legislation to protect different things. Like you said, trademark, we have a legislation for trademarks act, copyright act, patent act, designs act. Like that, we have different legislations. Okay, all of these are trying to protect intellectual properties of a person. Like by using my brain, by using my mind, if I have created something, I should be getting benefit out of it. Otherwise, next time I will not be motivated to do it, right? If somebody creates something, invents something, the person gets patent, the person should be getting exclusive right to use it or to give licenses to others to use it. Otherwise, they will not try to do something like that next time, right? So that's nothing but a way of encouraging people to strive towards excellence, that today if you have made something, tomorrow you try to make something even better, and your rights would be protected, right? So this is nothing but intellectual property rights. So like that, we also have a duty. Who is now, this last one was added by 86th amendment. Okay, all these previous 10 duties that we saw, it was added by 42nd constitutional amendment in 1976 based on recommendations of Swaran Singh committee. But this last one, it was added because we had this fundamental right also being added in part 3 of constitution, which says children between 6 to 14 years will get free and compulsory education. Now simply saying that children would get free and compulsory education is not enough, because these kids are still small and they might be dependent on someone, right? So first of all, it said that yes, children are having a fundamental right, but also a duty is imposed on parents, guardian, to provide opportunities to the kids. If you are having any kid under your custody, right, maybe somebody else's kid is there at your home, there also you have a responsibility. Not just parents or guardians, somebody who is having custody, that person will also have a responsibility, right? All of us are having a responsibility. Like what, between the age of 6 to 14 years, we need to send that kid to school for free and compulsory education. So it was added by 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. And based on that, we had the legislation also passed in 2009. From 2010, it became effective. It came into force. Okay, so these are the fundamental duties. We have 10 duties added by 42nd Amendment Act, last one added by 86. Total, we have 11 duties mentioned in Part 4A and Article 51A. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.